Welcome back to the Blueprint to Ultra podcast with your hosts, Steve Epifano and Jeff Winchester. Our goal with this podcast is to help you put together your own plan for your next ultra. We do this by interviewing a variety of guests that range from back of the pack to elite runners that share their own experiences for us all to learn from. Today's guest wasn't always a runner, but she did use her legs. She was a world qualified Irish dancing champion. I can't wait to hear the transition to running from there. Back in 2014, in the middle of her first attempt to get sober, she was walking 1 minute and running 30 seconds with hand-me-down shoes, more walking than running. No big goals. From there to today, she's completed 100 milers, won 100 Ks, and built a life rooted in discipline, gratitude, and sobriety. She's heavily involved in the sober community, supports women in recovery, donates to Strides in Recovery, and says ultra running is her moving meditation, a celebration of being alive. She believes you can find freedom through discipline, and that suffering, when chosen, can heal suffering that wasn't. This one's powerful, and let's get into it and help me welcome Brittany Poor. Brittany, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you so much. I love that intro. Spot on. I love it.
Yeah. You did great, Steve.
We do what we can.
That was great.
Yeah.
Brittany, welcome to the show. We're excited to have you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
So I mentioned it in the intro. Tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you get into it in the first place? How did you go from Irish dancing champion to a runner?
I know.
And what is an Irish dancing champion?
That's the best question ever, because I feel like when I say, oh, I used to do Irish dancing, I think people have like a misconception of it. You know, my whole family's Irish. And so I started that when I was 9. I don't know if you guys remember Riverdance, like when I
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my grandma got me Riverdance on VHS, and I would try to emulate them in my living room, and I wouldn't stop, and it was like annoying my mom. And she's like, okay, we got to get this girl into lessons. And it was hard to find Irish dancing lessons in Oceanside. So, but she found it. She managed to find it. And so just from a really early age, I was like hyper focused, like almost obsessed, I would say a little bit. There was just like this hyper focus with it. And what it is, it's like, I would say it's like Irish dancing of like what people think of it as, but like mix it with competitive cheer. So it was very competitive, like very cutthroat competitive. Like if your sock rolled down in the middle of your set, like that was a deduction. Like there was a lot of politics in it, just super very competitive. And so I think I started when I was 9, and I think I became a champion by the time I was like, I want to say 13. And then I went to my first world championships at the age of 16. Back then they were held in Ireland. Now it changes. It's a little bit different now. They'll bring the world championships over to the US so the Irish can have like a vacation here. Smart. And yeah, so I did that for years, and that was my first love. I really fell in love with that, and I learned, we're talking like 12-hour practices on Sundays, like it was a lot. And my dance class at the time was like up in Orange County. So it was, lots of driving, lots of sacrifices that my family had to make. Lots of, like a usual, like your run-of-the-mill practice was a couple hours long. So we were there from like, I don't know, I would leave after high school, after classes ended, and then I would come home at around like 10 p.m. That was like typical every day. Yeah, it was. It was pretty intense.
Let me clarify something just so I think of Irish dancing, I think of Riverdance. Like that's all I think about. That is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, that's the closest thing to
it. Yes. So everybody envisions Riverdance as being this just high step and quick footwork type thing. Mm-hmm. Since it's a running podcast, I'm just curious, like what's your cadence?
Oh, it's like 180. It depends on what I'm doing, but it's up there.
I mean, I bet you have an incredible cadence for coaches are like, check out her cadence.
The funniest thing is there's a step in Irish dancing, which like, if this was my feet, like you kind of like rock back and forth on your ankles. And so like, I swear, like that's one of my tricks, because like I'll be on trails and I'll be like, boop. And then I'll be like, oh, I've been doing that forever. It's fine. No problem.
Oh, I don't need to roll my ankle. I'm just dancing.
We're good.
That's fantastic. So help me to connect then. So you go from Irish dancing to running. How did you get into running then itself, as Steve was saying?
Yeah, so that's a good question because in dance and Irish dancing, like when you're 18, like you're too old. So you're done competing at that age. So I had a couple different options of like what to do, like if I was going to teach it, if I was going to try and get on Riverdance, and like they were touring in Tokyo that year. So I had a couple of options of what to do, but when you're 18, you're too old to be competing anymore. I will say there are adult competitions that you can enter, but like pretty much like people are going to be going to college and all that jazz. And so actually I fell into a little bit of a depression. Now that I look back on it, like I didn't know that that's what was happening at the time. This is all like retrospective. But imagine, I think that people who were like in ballet since the time they were 2, or had been playing t-ball, baseball, all the way up to like college and then had to stop. You know what I mean? It's like one of those moments where it's like, well, what do I do? Like I did not have another hobby. Yeah. Like I had nothing. Like I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what I didn't like, because like all I did was this, and I did it pretty obsessively, you know? So it was just at the nth degree. So that was really difficult to navigate in retrospect now that when I look back on it. At this time, like sobriety is a part of my story, and you guys can ask me anything. I'm like so like open with it. Like,
we will.
I don't care. So at this time, at the age of like 16, I had started drinking. And so, so flash forward to 18, it's like I am such an all or nothing person. And I love that about myself, because if I'm into it, I'm into it. And if I'm not, I'm not. And so I'm very work hard, play hard. And so at this time, like my drinking was starting to really progress. And so what happened is I think I got into running like when I was about 25. I was older, never ran, was on the high school dance team to get out of the mile. Like if you join the high school dance team, you don't have to run the mile. I was like, sign me up, because I ain't doing that. But there was a girl, she's still a friend of mine to this day. And I was trying to get sober at this time. So like flash forward to 25, I was trying to get sober. I knew I had a problem. I had no idea like how to solve that problem, but I was trying to like white knuckle it, like do better, work better, feel better, having a better time, like that kind of thing. I was trying my best, like God bless my soul, but like, you know, whatever. I was doing it my way. So there was this girl, and she was a friend of mine, and you know, here I am like trying to get sober, kind of feeling like shit about myself, like didn't really know what I was doing. And my friend was like, had a great body, was going to nursing school, like all this stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do that. And so that's literally it's like the vainest thing I've ever said in my life, but that's how I got into running. And she's like, yeah, you should do a 5K. And I had no idea what that is. And there's a park, those who are familiar with San Diego, I think it's called Golden Hills Park. It's right by 25th and A Street, downtown San Diego. And I would walk 1 minute, run 30 seconds. So I was walking more than I was running in the beginning. And I remember to this day when I could run 8 minutes in a row, and I just thought like I was the shit. I was so good. I was so good. And I entered into a 5K. They don't have it anymore. I wonder if they do, because if they do, I would love to go to it again. But it was just some rinky dink. It's like Eastvale 5K. I don't even know what it was. And I did that, and then got 3rd overall female in this, like, there was a lot of people there, but it you know, whatever. And I was just like hooked, like, and the obsession restarted. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So do you think you mentioned, it's interesting. So there's like you said, a lot of people, depending on what sports they grew up in, they may have done them their entire lives. And there's a point in time that they grow up, grow out, whatever, and they're no longer able to do that. And it's a loss of identity in so many ways. And so, my son was a collegiate swimmer. He had an identity being a swimmer from the time he was 5 years old, rather, all the way up through college. And it's an identity switch when you decide you're going to stop swimming and how you're going to respond to that.
Yeah.
He made the choice to step out of swimming before his last year, which actually helped him. But it helped him because he was able to make that choice as opposed to that choice being forced upon him. And so I think when you said you moved into depression coming into 16 to 18, you see this window of time, and then you're dealing with alcohol up to age 25. You're probably kind of just swimming all over the place, if you will, trying to make sense of who you are even and stuff. And so one of the things that I often ask people who struggle with addictions or addictive personalities, myself included, is that we tend to, like you said, go all in on something. And I asked this question because my wife asked me this question and challenged me with it. And she said, what would you do when you can no longer run?
Mm-hmm. And I know the answer to this because
that's what you have to do. So what will you do? Because if we know that having an identity too much into something can create a risk for us, how do we get out of putting ourselves in that situation in the future? So if you were not able to run, and I know you're like, this is a running podcast, what are we doing here? If you're not able to run, like, what would you do? I'm just following where we're going, right? What would you do?
I know exactly what I would do. It's so funny you mentioned this too, because I was just talking to my mom about it. And I fell in love with golf, but I had to stop. Like, I was dating a guy that was really into golf, and I started golfing and I got real into it. And then I had to make a decision where it was like, okay, you can either run or you can golf, because both are time consuming and both cost money. Golf probably more so. And so golf is one. I would also love to learn how to play the piano as well. I think I have like piano fingers. I feel like I have piano fingers.
So you would just switch to something else. My answer to the question has become that I love the running community, but it's why I do things like a podcast. It's why I would volunteer at races. I would still try to put myself in that community in some way, shape, or form. But it is a wrestling point, to understand, like, you can't always do the things you love. Sometimes those things you love kind of go away for some reason, and you want to make sure that you don't go away just because that thing goes away.
And it all goes away too. It's like there's going to be a day for like, where, like, with whether it's running, fill in the blank, you know what I mean? And it's like, I can't afford to have my world kind of like crumble down with it, It's like, as morbid as that sounds, but it's the truth. And it's like something that I actually, have thought about and have to think about, and always like put into perspective and be realistic. And also too, like, I'm getting old. Like, I'm celebrating a birthday soon. I'm 38, and I'm like, damn, like, I don't, I feel like everything feels great, feels fine, like right now, but like, to keep my expectations in check too. You know what I mean? And, and to, I'm going to do this until the wheels fall off. But also, like, a honest goal of mine is longevity too. I want to be out there, as long as possible, in whatever capacity that looks like too. And so to be prepared where it's like, okay, like, maybe there's going to be a day where I can't run ultras anymore, because my heart's in between anything 50 to 100 miles. My heart is like all about it. But when the day comes where I'm not able to do that anymore, it's like, okay, is there, like, I'm going to have to transition maybe to like half marathon, 5K, 10K, you know what I mean? And I have to be okay with that, or pick up golf or whatever.
Or you can just go back to that walking for a minute and running for 30 seconds.
There you go.
So we're going to get to some of your races.
100 miles that way.
Yeah. You can do a good job at them too.
Absolutely. So we're going to get to some of your races that you've done. Particularly, we're going to talk about the Coldwater Scramble in just a minute, because for those who are listening, and we've described you now as somebody who has dealt with sobriety issues and addiction issues, and you were walking a minute and running for 30 seconds. But just as a reminder for those to stick around, you did place 6th place overall in the Coldwater Scramble just took place. We'll get to that in a second. But before we do want to know, how do you think your battle with sobriety, though, has helped you in ultras?
I think it's my secret weapon, really.
Why is that?
I do. Because I say this all the time, but I find it to be so true. Like, I have already been through hell. So it's like, I remember one of the questions that you guys had like asked me, like the get to know you questions. One of them was like, what's like your hardest moment in a race or something to that effect. And like, I've had like hard moments in races, but like nothing like, that's just the perfect way I know how to describe it. It's like, I've already been through hell. So like running 100 miles, not hell. To me, it's not. Now, that's not to say it's not hard. It's not to say it's not difficult. It's not to say any of that stuff. I'm not saying any of that. But like in the midst of a really hard point in a race, that is actually not the hardest thing I've ever done. Like, so that is very helpful to me in the middle of races, or when something goes wrong. It's like I can almost laugh in the midst of it because it's not that bad. And so for me, like getting into ultras has always been like this one big fat act of like gratitude and devotion to, you can say God, you can say spirit of the universe, you could say creative intelligence, you could say love, you could put whatever words you want on it, but it's just like such an expression of like gratitude. From like my first 4 days getting sober, like I couldn't walk, I couldn't eat, I was really physically dependent on alcohol, and to be like flash forward running 100 miles is like a miracle. That is unreal. I'm blown away that I'm alive. So like first and foremost that, but like for my sobriety, like the fact, like I was the girl who couldn't get 30 days sober. And like, and here I am, like in the middle of deserts, in the middle of mountains, like it's surrounded by a lot of people too, because I think like a lot of my addiction was spent alone, you know? And so behind closed doors, like that kind of stuff. And so the fact that like I'm really big about having a really loving and supportive crew around me and like good people around me. That's a huge part of my sobriety as well. And I think the biggest thing that I do, I had a lady when I first got sober, she would tell me this all the time. She would say, like, gratitude without action is just appreciation. And she was kind of getting on me. Like when she said it to me, she was kind of like, you're not grateful. Like, you're not grateful because like you say you're grateful, but like your actions don't show it because you don't do nothing about it. And I was like, damn, like I was like, I don't like this lady. And so, but she was right. So it's like, I have like donated a lot of like my time. I volunteered a lot to local detoxes and all that kind of stuff. I give back, like nobody knows this except my run club. Like I give back a lot of stuff to like my local run club or like to runner. Like if I find out like you don't have a watch, like a running watch or something like that, I've given out 2 this year. Just like trying to help people. Like I do a lot of stuff that like, and I don't really talk about it. I mean, like I'm talking about it now because I'm thinking about it, but like I just kind of do a lot of stuff like that because a lot of stuff was people did that for me. People helped me out a lot, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, but you know, Brittany, what people are going to do is they're going to start sending you DMs to try to get you to send them a watch.
Yes,
don't mess.
I need a new pair of shoes.
Right. That's awesome. Just to hear kind of what you've gone through and everything is, I think it's very impressive. And it would kind of help you drive a little bit about, you know, who you are and how you respond in ultra. And you know, like you said, you've done hard things in your own life, personal life to kind of get through stuff like that. And an ultra is hard. And I really appreciate you saying that it is hard. It's not
it's so hard. It's
right.
So hard.
Well, because a lot of people are like, does this mean I have to have an addiction or have to go through some major suffering in my life to be successful in ultras? No, it just means that if you have, you can resonate with some of those experiences. And it means that you've done hard things, and it doesn't mean you can't get through this too. And so, but it's really
human experience too. It's like, okay, you don't have to go to addiction, but you know what else is shitty? I would imagine, I've never been married, but like going through a horrible divorce, like that can be, you know, or like death of a child. Like there's a bunch of stuff that people experience. And I always get really apprehensive to tell my story too, because in ultras, I find that like a lot of people are sober for like lifestyle choices. Like, oh, I wanted to like feel better and like my body, and like, oh, I was, you know, trying to lose weight, and then I decided to stop drinking, and like that's phenomenal, and I'm here for that. I'm like the biggest fan of that kind of stuff. But like I feel like my story is just like a little bit different. It was like, oh no, it's like life or death, ha ha ha, and I'm just like running away. So it's kind of like, I hope some people can resonate with it. I'm sure there's millions of people that do, but I get that a lot, or oh, did running get you sober? And it's like, no, like that. I was doing I had to do a whole other thing, and like running is a big piece of it. It for sure is. It's my little everything, but it's not the whole puzzle.
Yeah, it in and of itself can't get you sober.
No,
there's a lot of work the individual has to do, and so and I love that you're very transparent about your journey with it and everything. And so I think if anyone is listening, that if they have questions about it, I would encourage them to reach out to you. They can follow you on Instagram too. I'm just telling them to, whether or not you're okay with that. I'm just going to go with it.
Fine.
And so, but
sobriety,
right? I mean, she is the resource for everything at this point. But let's switch gears a little bit. Let's move over to the Coldwater Scramble 100K. This just took place recently. I mentioned a minute ago, you got 6th place overall, 1st place female.
Yeah.
A little bit more details about this race. You ran it in 12 hours and 6 seconds. It's so close to being sub 12, but we won't hold that against you.
That's my non-modest goal.
2nd fastest time recorded for a woman in that race thus far.
Thank you.
And also on a side note, one of our former guests was Tim Vale, who also ran this race and set the course record this year. And so I would tell people, if they're looking at doing Coldwater Scramble next year and they want to be competitive, they should come on to the show.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. That's what does it.
It's got to be related to the podcast in some way, right?
It is related to the podcast.
So for those who are not familiar with the race at all, can you just, at a very high level, describe the course, what it's like, the place itself? Like, if you were to tell me why I should run Coldwater, why should I run it?
Yeah, it's in Goodyear, Arizona. And the course is, so when I looked at the course, it feels flat. There's about like high 7,000 elevation gain in that one. It's about 64. I think I clocked it on my watch at about 64 miles. But super runnable. So, which is like my strong suit. 'Cause on like the flats and the downs, I do pretty well. On the climbs, like I'm a little itty bitty thing. So like, I don't got much to me, you know what I mean? And so trucking up, like that's pretty much my weakness. And so I knew a lot of it was runnable. And it's not too like technical trails will kind of like stumble me up too. And I'm very like apprehensive on them. So it's like, I don't fall, I don't eat shit, but like, I'm going to make sure that I don't too. So this course was super, super runnable, and I was able to, I just had a really good day out there. And I did get sick between like mile 40 and 45. Bro, I was not feeling, I think I got too much. I got too much sodium in. And then I was like looking for a place to go to the bathroom. Not possible. FYI, not possible on this course because everything is flat. And you can see like really far out, and there's no trees, no nothing around. So yeah, between mile 40 and 45, I was on the struggle bus. I was walking a little bit at that point and did some things to kind of counteract that. But then by mile 50, I was fine. I was fine by then. But then you're like half dead anyways. It's just like, oh, well, what are we going to do? But my friend Sarah, shout out to Sarah. My friend Sarah, I was like, you should come this race. You would kill it. You would crush it. I thought she was going to beat me. She's like 23 or something like that. And just a real fast, strong runner. And I'm very much like, come one, come all, try it out. And I knew she was on my tail. So that's part of the reason why I ran fast was because I knew who was behind me. And then my crew was like, we had joint crew helping us out. And so my crew was saying like, oh yeah, she's just like right behind you. And I like slam a Coke and I'm like, damn it. And I'm like, going and trying to, beat her. But then it's like nothing but love too.
That's awesome.
The two of us, seeing her go out there and we called it like the North County 1-2 swoop we're like, let's do this thing. Like, let's go to Arizona and have someone from Oceanside and Vista, like go and take the top. So we thought it was funny.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So she got second?
Yeah, she got second place. Yeah. She did so good. She's such a strong runner in her own right. And just like the most, like, has the most humility, like nicest, like, hey, you know, just, yeah, but has like that underlying grit to her and just a really talented runner. So she's, yeah, we shared an Airbnb. We shared everything. Nice. We shared an Airbnb, crew, everything. Yeah. Pacers, like her friend I've never met paced me on the.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you still wanted to beat her even though she's so nice.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. That's all right. Friendly competition, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and then too, because like I'm older, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not gonna let this 23-year-old take me.
Brittany, that age thing sounds like a chip on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no. Like, no, we're not gonna have that. Not yet. You know what I mean? So it's like I like to be representing my age group.
You know you can get an age group award. You don't have to win overall.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I should just relax a little. Yeah. Yeah.
So with I know you said you had a little bit of a sodium issue. How did you know it was like, how did you know it was the sodium? How did you know you were like taking in too much? What were some of the symptoms?
Oh, I was just craving like regular water. Like I didn't want to, it wasn't like a carb. It wasn't a fueling thing. So what I do is I do Morton's 320 drink mix. I really like that one. And then, I was doing Scratch. I was doing Scratch high carb. Those two are like my go-tos. Mwah. Love those because you don't get flavor fatigue. I also do Never Second gels. So if I'm going to get flavor fatigue, it's going to be from the Never Second gels, but it's not going to be from Scratch, and it's not going to be from Scratch high carb, and it's not going to be from Morton's 320. But I'll also have electrolytes too. And I think I was at like 1,000 milligrams per bottle, I want to say, if I remember correctly, which I'm a sweater. So I will sweat a lot. And I just think I overdid it a touch. And during that stretch of a time, because if you do like little mistakes, they end up becoming bigger mistakes. And at mile 4, I was just like craving real water. Like my body, it just will tell me. Like, I know that sounds so stupid, but my body will just like let me know. And then I went into the aid station at mile like 40, 41. It was something like that. And then I took 2 500 milliliter water bottles and just was like drinking it. And I was like, put ice in my bra. Like, I was like to the aid station, ice me, you know? And they're like, oh, there you go. And then I just sat down for a little bit. And then I pray in ultras, you know, and I was just like, if you can help my body right now, because I knew like things were starting to turn. And so I was like, if you can help my body, great. And if you can't, like, let it be done. You know, like I'm good with whatever. And I am very, like, I was just very calm. And I was just like, just again, like, I know it sounds so hokey, or it sounds like I'm lying or something like that, but I was just grateful to be out there. You know what I mean? And none of it's lost on me, you know? So I was just really grateful to be out there, but I was like, whatever way this is going to shake out, let it be done. And I'm okay with it. And then I like slowly, it was weird, bro. I slowly started to feel like a lot better. And then at mile 50, I was like, oh, we're on. And so then I ran it, picked up my pacer, and it just kept going.
I got so many questions.
Yeah.
so many follow-ups.
Yes.
I really do. So I'm going to make us, I don't know which way I want to ask first. I'm probably just going to say this first. There's nothing hokey about being grateful, about praying, about having a moment, about having a moment of calm. There's nothing bad about any of that in an ultra. And the reason is because one of the things that we have learned, Steve and I are both coaches. I think you're a coach as well.
Yeah.
You know, is that we've learned that to be successful in ultras, it's not just about like how physically fit you are. It's literally about your attitude and about your mindset. And if you can stay out of a negative headspace and you can attribute something with a bit of a grateful attitude, or you can kind of give over the outcome and remove some of that pressure, you find that you're really successful. So it's not hokey. It's actually really good, sound wisdom that.
Because I had to learn that. Like, I wasn't always good at that. And I would get like, I chronically get lost all the time in races. I'm not as bad as I used to be, but it was really bad. It was like, there's only one way. Like, how did you get lost? I'm like, I don't know. But I used to get really mad. And so remember, I started running ultras as like this act of devotion and this thing of gratitude and like all this stuff. And then I just started to get so like, if one thing would go wrong or something would happen, I'd be like, like I get so mad at myself. And I was like, whoa, like, what's that? And so I had to learn, like, I'm responsible for the work I put in, but like, I leave the results up to like the big man upstairs or something else. Like I can control the controllables. And then I've gotten a really great sense of humor about it all. There's a certain amount of like levity to my running. Like this is not a veil of tears. This is not like, I'm not on payroll. Some people are on payroll. No one is getting paid here. And so I get to have like kind of a sense of like humor about it all.
But I think that's the goal. Like you have to have that level of relaxation, if you will, for lack of a better word, to be successful. I mean, if you look at your early ultrasonic results, they were not nearly as stellar as they are now. Like you're winning lots of stuff now. And there is this maturity that takes place the longer you're in the sport, the more you experience the pain and suffering, if you will, but also the more your mindset begins to adapt to what you're going through. And I think what you're talking about is something that I think those who are listening to the podcast, like we want this to be something that people learn from, is that pay attention to your attitude, pay attention to the way you process when things go wrong and things are difficult, because that can lead you to success or to demise in the middle of a race. And so the other thing I wanted to touch on, though, before we leave this, is you mentioned this sodium being overloaded and you drank a lot of water and everything like that. And so, we've talked about this, I think, with one of our other guests, Steve. I can't remember who it was, but when you're during the summertime, it's a big deal here on the East Coast for sure. I live over in Eastern North Carolina. You guys have beautiful weather in California, so let's not lie to ourselves. But over here, we deal with sweating and salt loss all the time. And we understand, and you do, I'm sure as well, that there's two different areas of understanding when it comes to salt. And so we have a sweat rate that equates to the amount of volume of water or sweat that we lose. And also each individual is unique in the amount of salt within that sweat that they lose. And so you are consuming 1,000 milligrams of sodium per water bottle. Most water bottles are about 500 milliliters. And if you're drinking 2 of them, that's almost 2,000 milligrams of sodium per hour, more than likely. That's a ton.
Yeah, I think so, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. I'm trying to remember if it was 1,000 split between 2 bottles or if it was 1,000 per bottle. I can't remember because
pay attention to that, because that's a huge difference.
Yeah, because I pre-mix everything. So I go by like hour. So I'll consume one of those. I think it was 1,000 milligrams per hour. And then it was 50 grams of carbohydrates per hour in that one bottle. And then what I do is I consume carbohydrates on like fuel, like with my Never Second gels on top of it. So I think, and then I have a bladder of fresh water in the back. So I go full bladder and then of just fresh water. And then those bottles, I'll be drinking like one bottle. I try to consume 1 bottle per hour. And I was doing a good job at that. So I think it was just like a tad, and I've done it like this way for a while, and it's been pretty good. Weather obviously will dictate kind of like how that's going. Like colder stuff, it's like, oh, I'm not.
Yeah. Well, so what I was going to say on that, just for those who are trying to maybe think about like how they could figure out maybe what their sweat rate is and stuff. There's a lot of things you can look online to figure out how to calculate your sweat rate. You can email Steve or myself. We can also talk to you about it. Just, you can calculate how much sweat loss you have in a given hour without going to a lab or anything. If you want to find out your salt loss rate, you can go to a lab and get that done. And you can find out how much salt is being lost per liter of sweat per hour. And it can kind of give you a lot of information. You can have better metrics for that. So 2 things to look at on that regard. Sounds like you may have gotten a little bit of dehydrated or over sodiumized or whatever, how you want to say that. That's a rough experience. But when we saw that, you know, in your notes, you mentioned that too. And then when you just talked about it, Steve and I were like, well, we should at least talk about this just for a second. What went well, though? Because you didn't fall apart. Like, you had a moment where you did this. So again, you won first place female. You got the second fastest for women in the race. It was a very well run race for you. What did you do that you would say, I nailed that?
I think I chose to run a little bit more fearlessly. I think it's, I'm a good runner. Like, I like running, like I'm good at climbing. Like I said before, like, you know, not so much. And so because of the nature of that course, I think it allowed me to shine. Like, I think the course like allows you to kind of like show your best self. And so I just think that the course was, you know, just allowed me to shine. I really do. There's certain courses that I just believe that I can kind of excel on more than others. And trust me, there's a lot where it's like, that's probably not Brittany's get down.
Yeah, but you said a word, though. You described the approach you were going to take is that you decided to run more fearlessly.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic statement. So for Steve and I, can you tell us what you mean to run fearlessly in a race? Because I think it's counterintuitive to where a lot of people are going to approach their ultras.
Yeah. And I've noticed that I've been doing that. So like this past year, I just had a really good year. And I think with, you know, just winning a couple stuff or getting podium or something like that, like it definitely caused me to gain like a little bit more confidence in myself. And I know that with like a lot of these races, like I have stuff like left in the tank, you know, and at this race, I kind of just wanted to see like what my true potential was, you know, like out there. And I think that I can do a lot better than what I usually do. And it's still something I have to work on too, because like, if I know that I'm going to win something, like I'll kind of chill. Like I won't, you know what I mean? Like I won't kind of just like fully send it like all the time. And I don't know if that's like a good thing or a bad thing. That's just, you know, the way, whatever. That's just like the way I do it. But yeah, just being a lot more confident in my ability as a runner. You know, I think sometimes I don't know if it's more common in women. Like I don't, you know, I'm not sure, but I think a lot of times like I'll be a little bit timid, or I don't want to get hurt, or I don't want to, you know, fall on the downs and stuff like that. I kind of tiptoe like with stuff a little bit. And I was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to send it. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? I'm in Arizona. It's a beautiful day, you know? That's kind of, you know, stomach's acting great. I got my merino wool toe socks. What can go wrong? And like, I am a person who thinks of like I'll get catastrophic thinking where I'm like, all these things can go wrong. And then it's like, yeah, but what about all this stuff that can go right too? You know? And I just lean into that. And I'm like, if I blow up, I blow up, you know? And I can't be concerned with what will people think or, you know, what it's like. I've already proven myself in this sport too. Okay. Let me touch on something right now.
Yeah.
This is so true. I've already proven myself in this sport. Sorry. I've done everything I've wanted to do. My biggest thing was like run 100 miles, sub 24, did it, done. Like there's no like, I'm not trying to please. My family loves me. They're proud of me. They, you know, we've like checked all the boxes. So I think with that, like ever since August, I've just kind of been like, okay, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, whatever races I feel like doing, whether I think they're going to challenge me, whether I think that they're going to be super easy, like whether they're local. A lot of the times they're local, whatever. I don't care. I've lost my care. I don't care. And so I just go out there and I just started sending it. And that was a result.
Yeah, but it's so that I got to keep going here. I find that absolutely fascinating that you can approach it that way. You're not afraid to blow up.
No.
And if I'm correct, I don't recall seeing any DNFs in your ultra sign up.
We're gonna die today. That's my mentality. Yeah, let's go.
But how do you do that?
Haven't.
Yeah. So Steve, right. So that's my point is she hasn't DNF. So how are you pushing yourself to that limit, and not even to that limit, to that point where you can say, I'm going to go and I don't care if I blow up. And yet, even if you blow up, you're not DNFing.
Yeah, God himself will have to remove me from that course. Yeah, you're going to have to pry that course from my cold, dead fingers. That's how, it's just stubborn. That's all it is. Don't glamorize it. It's just stubborn. I'm a stubborn ass chick out on the course. And that's what it is, you know? And I haven't even like, there's stuff I want to try too. Like, I don't know. It's like, oh, should I do like 200s? And, you know, it's like, I don't know. They don't really like tug at my heartstring a lot.
Yes, Steve talked about it.
Like, yes, my friend wants to do mammoth. My friend Audrey, shout out Audrey, my best friend Audrey.
I can't recommend it enough.
She's the best. I love that woman. She is great. She's so funny. She's the funniest person I know. I'm not even kidding. She wants me, Steve, her and I are thinking about doing Mammoth 200, thinking about doing it.
I would say sign up. Don't think about it, just sign up.
Just sign up. Yeah, and that's how I do it. I just click register and figure it out later.
You know, Steve, I'm just confused. I didn't think she was afraid to do anything.
Who, me? Yeah. It just doesn't like pull on my hearstrings. It's just like
Brittany, it's okay. You're just scared. You're scared.
That's it. Just seeing the sun come up twice. It's like, oh God.
Twice.
It's going to be way more than that.
3-4 million times.
Right. She's only going to see it come up twice, Steve.
I've seen it come up quite a few times out there.
I meant multiple times. I am not.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, that
no, you didn't.
Would take me 1 million hours to complete.
I wish I saw it twice.
God. Yeah, see, and I'm not scared of like, I've never hallucinated. Like, I'm not scared of hallucinations. I'm not scared of any of that stuff. I hear it's like cat litter, like the you know what I'm talking about? The trail.
I have no idea. Yes, the trail. Yeah. It's just some of it is like pumice. Yes.
Pumice cat litter. That's what I hear. And I'm like, I don't know. That doesn't strike me. It's not something where I'm like, want to do that. You know, I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably end up doing it.
Let me know.
I'm going with her being scared, man. I'm just going with it. I'm just not going to, I'm moving off of it. I'm going to let her just deal with that and wrestle with that. When she gets off this call, she'll be like, I can't believe he said that to me. Yeah, he did. So speaking of things that are upcoming, there's two things we wanted to kind of touch on a little bit. And when we were looking at your races that you have in the future, you've got quite a few, but specifically upcoming most currently is the Sycamore Canyons 50K, which is happening in 11 days from today when we're recording. We're recording today on February 17th. And so this recording will come out on March 6th, which means we will know how you do when this gets released. And so we're going to talk about it now.
Yeah.
And we can kind of be, perspective here. And I can get the early insight and make a bet on you if I need to. That kind of thing,
Let's do it.
So, what do you predict about this race?
This is the third time I've done it. This is actually how I celebrate my birthday. So my birthday is on the 26th.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And it's local. It's in Poway-ish area. And I won it last year. And so I got a free, when you win, that's the thing I really like about these races. I love it when people do that. So when you win, they give you a free race entry for next year. And I was thinking, I was like, should I do the 100K? And I was like, I don't know if I want to do it's because it's kind of like a infinity sign that it's kind of that. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to spend all day just kind of doing that. And so I opted for the 50K. My mom's coming out, not for the race, but just to celebrate my birthday. And I always make her do dumb shit when she comes to California. So that's how we're spending our day. And I predict that I'll do well. You never know, too, because there's some people with 0% scores on ultra sign up, those dark horses, there's young, fast road people now entering trail. And so it's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I hope I do good. I think I'll do good. It looks like I'll do good, but you know,
That's
who
cool.
knows? I'll have fun out there. That's like a cool, and it's like kind of like fire road. Like, so it has vert to it. There's a decent amount of vert for a 50K. It's like touching on 6,000, like five and some change, something.
That's a decent amount for a 50K.
Yeah, it's a decent amount for a 50K. But on that non-technical, like I do all right. I'm not the best at it, but I'm not the worst either. So yeah, well, that one's, but that's a birthday. That's why I do it. It's a birthday celebration race.
So other than being a birthday run, is it, when we looked at that and we also knew that you have the Leoda Divide 100K coming up, which is it's a great race. I've talked to Kara before about her race.
She's great. I love her.
It's a fantastic race director as well. Is the Sycamore a training run for it, or are you going to race Sycamore?
So I'm just like, I'm in a season right now where I'm just like doing whatever I want. So I'm not really, I have a very like loose training plan that I've been doing since August. So like I did 100-miler and then I just kind of kept going and then I haven't stopped. So I'm like, my base is there, you know what I mean? So I'll like, I'm not as like regimented as I was, because I used to be like, people be like, hey, you want to go out and run? I'm doing 10 miles. I'm like, oh, I can't. I have to do 18 or bust, I can't exist. And I was very like that. And thank God for good friends, because they all dealt with my ass. But now I'm just kind of like a little more lax with stuff. Leona's going to be hard. That one's going to be a hard race. Yeah. Dude, have you seen the person who's first? Steve, you guys will probably know who okay, so I'm dumb. I didn't know who this chick was. She's like 50 something. She's like 50 something. She's everything I want to be and more. She's like 50 something. Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Miss, if you're listening, I'm not trying to be banging bod. She has like a 6-pack, just.
Do you have a name?
No, wait. Let me get it. I'm gonna get it on my phone right now. It begins with a D. Denise something. I almost messaged her on Instagram and was like, "Hello," for everything I aspire to. Like, love you, bye. Like, I almost did, but I got too shy. I'm gonna look it up.
Do it. Ultrarunners are great.
Well, I know I should. And I was talking to a girl I named Izzy. A girl I know named Izzy with Ultra Beds. And she was like, you should just tell her that. And I'm like, well, I don't want her to think she's like, I'm a weirdo, even though I am. But like, I want to ease into
Izzy's great, by the way.
Huh?
Izzy is great, by the way.
Yeah, Izzy's so great. We were talking Topo. She's a Topo shoe lover, like myself. She's amazing. She's getting ready for some crazy stuff coming up too.
You two are all over the board.
I know. So sorry.
Denise Barisa is her name, I think it is. From Colorado.
Yeah.
I've never heard of her. Denise Barisa is her name.
No, wait. Okay, you don't have to do this now. Go on her Instagram and look at that woman. Phenomenal. She's gonna mop the floor.
Now, and
she is going to mop the floor with me, and it will be a privilege and an honor. She is, whoever you are, Miss, let's be friends. She's phenomenal. And just okay, wait, let's get a name so we can update the viewers.
We're going to actually just ask her to be on the show, I think.
Denise.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to mess this up. Barasa, 56 years old.
Yep.
Looks better than me. Better than she's just a phenomenal runner. She's gonna murder me. Thank you, Miss, in advance. Thank you. Yeah, she's great.
Why aren't you going to beat her?
Huh?
Why aren't you going to beat her?
That's a tall order. That's a tall order, because I have a healthy respect for that woman right there. You have to lay eyes on her.
Yeah, but let's talk about it. So let's talk about either Sycamore or Leona. It doesn't really matter to me, because the same questions are going to apply. you're saying now that you're gonna go all in. So you're gonna approach these as races as opposed to training runs. And so when you think about a race strategy, how do you approach a ultra as a race? Because a lot of listeners are trying to do their first 50K, first 50 mile, first 100, or even their 10th 100. Doesn't matter, whatever number it is. They're not going to be fearlessly approaching it, just running, as hard as they can because they're terrified of DNF and because maybe they have in the past, whatever it is. But when it comes to racing, you're looking at this person who you believe is going to beat you. How do you approach the race? Are you going to try to stick with her? Are you going to try to pace off of her? Like, what does that look like? That's what I want to know is like, how do you approach a race that you're going to try to win from a strategy standpoint because you're going in it to be competitive? So what does that look like from somebody who races an ultra versus participates in them?
Yeah, I am definitely competitive with myself only. Like I'm aware of the fields. I'm aware of what's going on around me. That's one thing that like I will ask of crew. Like I don't care about, just to make it clear, like I don't care about what the men's field looks like. I'm not interested in like how I'm like stacking up against the guys, but I always want to know what the women's field looks like. So I always want to make sure like that is something I'm very aware. But in the same moment, like I'm not going to try and keep up with her. I'm not trying to do anything other than what like I know I'm capable of. So like for me, what it looks like is I always go out the gate hot. And sometimes that works because I like to create. It's bad. It's like sometimes I like to create a little distance, like from a psychological standpoint. Like I like to like just go out and be like, you're never going to see me again. And which is like, who knows if that's a lie or not, but I like to create space. I like to create a little bit of distance in the beginning, but sometimes I go out too hot when I do it. So I've been working on that lately. But as far as like keeping up or like trailing behind or, I got to make sure I'm keeping that 100K is a really long time. A lot can happen.
Yeah, let me pause you for just a second. So you said you like to go out first. You like to try to take off to where you create the space between you and the rest of the field.
Yeah.
So do you prefer to be chased or to chase then? It sounds like you prefer to be chased. So you run out of fear.
Yeah, I don't. I don't look at it like that.
How do you look at it?
Huh?
Then how do you look at that?
I look at like I am going to create distance between you and I early on.
Mm-hmm.
Early on, I am making a statement. Like that's how that's all it is. Is like I'm going to make a statement and that's what it is. Like just
does the reverse mess with you? Does the reverse mess with you? Let's assume that you do this at Leona and Denise. You turn around and you're 10 miles down the trail. And she's like, "What's up, Brittany?" And she's right behind you.
Yeah. I'm going to be like, "Oh my God, girl, I'm a huge fan."
There is no space.
There is no space.
Yeah.
No, I'm such a girl's girl. And I love like women being in the sport because I don't think like I'm like such a fan. And I'm always like the biggest cheerleader of everyone. I do have to say, I think anytime that I get like DMs, like that are about my vibe, I just really appreciate that because I feel like that is like me. Like I just have such a great attitude and so happy and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm not really worried about what anybody else is doing out there. Like
That's awesome.
Not really. Yeah. I may be like, okay, like I may have a goal, like where it's like in some of these races, I'm not even saying Leona, but just because Leona is going to be like a tougher race for me, I think, in a couple different ways, maybe. But like, let's say I have a goal of like podium. I might try to like, make sure that I'm somewhere near podium if that is my goal. Yeah, for sure. But not like, oh, I have to beat so-and-so or anything like that. I'm not really too concerned with what anyone else is doing.
So what about logistically? Like how much planning do you make towards the race? I mean, it sounds very loose, but
Yeah.
I also recognize you are competitive.
Yeah.
And so it's not that you're not going in there thinking about it. Like you are looking at who's in the list of people that are in the race. But in addition, you talked about the different types of nutrition that you prefer. You've talked about being too much sodium and having, you're pre-mixing all your stuff. So I know that you do some planning.
Yeah.
Right. So when it comes to your aid stations, do you have a strategy to coming to cruise stops? Do you have a strategy for how much calories you're going to take per hour in these races? Like what are your numbers?
Yeah. So depending on, heat is a factor. And I think like, I have to talk to more people probably about Leona and see like what the weather, it's exposed. I know that I'm planning for like heat. I don't do the best in the heat, but I have some like dorky flaps that I wear that I swear, but so I have like things that I do like apparel wise to help with that. My electrolytes, I really like salt, and I really like the brand Salt, and I really like the brand Switchback. Electrolytes are just really great for me. So I want to be consuming about like 70 grams per hour is what.
Of carbs.
Yeah. That's what I like to consume. And like the more fine, like my gut can kind of take it. So I've experimented with like up to 100 grams of carbs per hour, and the body's like, thanks. And so I'm like, okay, like I don't
really
like, huh?
It's really, so you can go all the way up to 100 if you want to. That's
I wanted
awesome.
to. Yeah. So I don't have like GI issues or anything like that when it comes to taking liquid fuel. Now, when you start, if you give me a goo, like a proper goo, like, no, like I'm going to be able to get that down. So solids, I kind of like struggle with. So I think it's all about like finding what works best for you. And I've had a lot of years where I was able to do that. I started out by eating Cheez-Its. That's how I started. So
don't hate. We love that.
I love them too. And I've come a long way, and I could barely, it'd be like crumbles, like, oh, I can't do it. So I've like learned, I've done everything. So I've kind of, not everything, but I've learned a lot of like what works for me.
So let me be clear here. You said, and I may have heard you wrong, but I don't think I did. You said that you do roughly 70 grams of carbs per hour, and that it is all liquid.
Yeah. So it's all going to be, it's 50 of it is going to be scratch, or 40 to 50 of it is going to be scratch or Morton's, depending on what I'm messing with, depending on which one I'm doing. And then the rest of it, I'm going to pick up in gel form. Yeah. So like
never second.
Yeah. I love those. Passion fruit, bomb. So good. So good. Or other stuff. Like I have a crazy collection of nutrition, just a bunch of stuff. So yeah, I'll play around with stuff like that, but that's where I will not go below 60. I'm not going.
Yeah, I keep interrupting you on this because it's fascinating to me. So 70 grams of carb, all liquid nutrition. Yeah. That is either really concentrated liquids, or it is a lot high volume of liquids. Like, how do you? I don't know how to ask me a question. Feedback that I get often is I can't consume that much fluid because my gut feels like it's just swimming and it's sloshing.
I feel like a brand new woman. I'm not.
But how much volume are you drinking per hour?
Like, well, it's the one bottle. It's 100 milliliters. Is that what you mean?
So that's a liter. So it's a 500 milliliter, like, is it Salomon bottles or something?
Yeah, 500 milliliter Salomon soft flask. And then I do have like the bladder, the 1.5 liter.
That's plain water.
Plain. But I don't really like, if I feel the need.
Right. So in that 500 milliliter bottle, you have 70 grams of carbs?
No. So I'll have 40 to 50.
Okay. So you do 1.5.
The scratch packets that you get, those ones are 50. And then Morton's 320 is 80. So I'll split that between two bottles, which would be 40 and 40.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the rest
you down both of those.
Up in gel.
Yeah. That sounds thick.
No, I think she downs
Does that sound
downs one bottle and then a gel to supplement per hour.
Yeah.
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 Maybe it's not thick. It feels like it's thick.
No.
Maybe not.
No,
I don't know if I could survive on that.
Oh, it's so that's that for like any like a 50 miler, like ABC 50, that's like all I did. Yeah. I didn't take it.
But Brittany, I'm slow. I've got to be out there and have a meal. I don't have all like, yeah, like, man, Steve is out there looking at four sunrises.
I've never been chased. I've never been chased, Jeff.
Yes, you have. Next race, you're going to do your next 200, Steve. You're going to go as fast as you can from the starting line. Just look back at all of them.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Right.
I'm going to do a minute 400 meter and then be done.
Maybe I have to do a 200 to like,
put some distance.
To figure out. I'd probably be eating all sorts of stuff.
Last question I have about race strategies, though, is aid stations themselves. So we know you're doing your own nutrition and hydration. You're not spending a lot of time at an aid station, are you?
No. And Leona, I'm going to be self-supported through Leona. So I'm just like relying on myself because like it was just cheaper to do it that way. I'm like, oh, I could get a hotel and do all this stuff. And I've been asking like a lot of favors I'm not a huge, like, will you crew me like type of a person? And I will, if it's like something big or if someone offers, for sure. We'll never turn that down as long as the vibe's right. But Leona, I'm going to do self-supported. So I'll have drop bags and I have everything is like all my liquid nutrition is pre-made in a smart water bottle. Highly recommend because it's not like the cheap crinkly plastic that can like, I feel like that can just spill and break in a bag or whatever. But the smart water brand water bottles are like more durable. And so I'll pre-mix my liquid nutrition, throw that in a bag, throw in some gels, like, and maybe some like emergency stuff if I feel I need it. And I am doing that, like dumping and as I'm walking. Yeah. I'm in now. Yeah. I can't sit either because I'll be like, oh, this is nice. Like, I'll be like, oh. So I don't like to sit. My body will like immediately react to sitting. It just loves it. So I can't really like hang out. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I'm going to move to the next section, Steve, unless you've got other questions about racing, because I want to move to the coach's corner and start wrapping us unless you want. Go ahead.
The only thing I would have to say is Leona does get a little bit toasty. I've never run it before, but it does get hot. It's going to be really cold in the morning, and then by the afternoon, mid-morning, it's going to be toasty.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've done this before, but what's helped me in those types of races is jumping in the sauna like 3 or 4 weeks before the race and sauna for 30 to 40 minutes 4 times a week prior to the race, and you should be heat adapted prior to going into the race.
Okay, wonderful. I've been doing like 20 minutes, so I'm up it. And I haven't been doing it. I just started my sauna stuff.
One of the ways
you can do it consistently and like at least 3 weeks before the race.
Okay. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna let you know how it goes.
Well, one of the tweaks that you can take, the tweak you can take to that so that you don't have to spend so much time in a sauna is that if you can run outside when it's warm, run outside for 30 to 45 minutes or even an hour and then go straight to the sauna. And you can also maximize that time as well from the backside. But also recognize that when you do a sauna regimen like Steve's prescribing, you do need a little bit of recovery because it takes a lot out of you. And so you need to stay hydrated. You need to make sure you're staying ahead of that. You're not just hydrating because you're thirsty afterwards. You're going to stay hydrated during the day and the next day as well. So just kind of keep all that in mind. Otherwise, you're just going to give yourself a lot of over fatigue that's unnecessary. Okay. Steve, on the Leoda Divide, I think the other thing about that race is, and I'm not going to have the mile marker correct, so forgive me, but there's a section, I think it's around mile 50 is when this massive climb is. Isn't there a major climb towards the end of that race that you have to deal with?
I believe so, because everybody complains about it that's in the 100 miler. I'm just looking at it right now.
Well, because it's like some out and back section I thought they have to do that if you're doing the 100K.
I'm thinking of going no poles too. I wonder if I'm playing around with the ideas of like poles or not. I think I'm going to bring them.
I bring up this hill because there is a massive climb towards the end when you're tired. And so as you have self-professed to be a very strong climber.
I'm the best. Go on.
Right. As you have claimed that, it may be an opportunity to not get passed by Denise to start doing a little bit of that climbing right now.
That's what I need to do.
Because that's where she'll get you.
That's where she's going to get me and just stick it to me.
And she's going to put some distance between you.
She's going to establish distance from that moment, and then she ain't going to let up. She's just going to keep going.
That's Cap and Berry.
And you know what? I'm just going to be like this off in the distance. I'm like, you go, girl.
But in all seriousness, as you look at a race like Leoda Divide, and for those who are looking at their own races for something like this, you should always try to find out, like, is there a major climb in a race? And that is one of the things like that Leoda Divide is known for, is this big climb towards the second half of it, towards the end, that people just hate. And as Steve said about the weather difference between the morning and the afternoon is a huge swing. And so those things, as anybody signed up for any race, do that type of research to know what it's about and to maybe start doing some training specific things to get you ready for the race. And you will be just maybe not as successful as Brittany, but you will be successful. So how about that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, so towards the end of all of our episodes, we do this thing we call Coach's Corner. And it's an opportunity for somebody who submits a question that's listening. We read that question on air. We ask it of our guests. We then answer that question as well. Now, the sad thing about it is that for the past 2 weeks, our 2 recordings, we've had nobody send us a question. So for those who are listening, y'all suck.
Yeah, y'all better start sending in questions.
I'm just kidding. Right. Well, we're kidding, but they're all 5 of them right now. No, I'm just kidding. But so seriously, we don't have a question this week. But when we don't have a question, Brooklyn, who does all of our social media and helps us with that you've also probably interacted with through Instagram as well for us, she typically sends a question in because she has been training for her own races, and she is currently training for the Yeti 100 that's coming up.
Oh my!
As well as the damn Yeti.
Has she done a 100 before?
She has, and she wasn't successful. So that's why she's got all these questions that she always asks.
Brooklyn, it's going to happen for you, honey. Oh, just sending you a bunch of good vibes.
That's great.
Message me if you want to. She wants to, Brooklyn.
Yeah, she's doing the damn Yeti, and she will. She's doing it in the summertime, and she's doing the 100 in the fall. But
I love it.
She is concerned about eating. And so here's what she had to say. Okay. She would like to know, how do you keep up with calories, i.e. track them? For example, how do you know when to eat them? How do you keep up on them? What's the timing? Like you said that you try to get 70 grams of carbs.
Yeah.
How do you keep track to make sure you're going to actually consume them and not just trying to down it right before you go in to get your refill?
Yeah. And that's where I think I like the liquid nutrition, because it's very simple for me to do it. So I'll either pick Scratch or Morton's. So I know what bottle, like what that is. So I'm not looking at wrappers. I'm not trying to mathematize. I'm not trying to, because at mile, like for her, at mile 80, your brain leaves your body. So no one's doing any type of thinking. You're just descending into hell. And then mile 90, you think you're going to get out of hell, and then you just go deeper. That's what's going to happen. So it's like there is no trying to add or subtract or like any of that. That's where I kind of like to set myself up for success. So I know, like, no matter what, I have to drink this bottle because this is like, at least this is going to give me 50 grams an hour or whatever have you. So that's why I personally
like awesome.
Liquid nutrition, and I do well with it. So
yeah.
That's great. Now, if I want to enjoy other stuff on top of it, fabulous. I allow myself to do that. But yeah.
Awesome.
Just kind of like a guarantee.
But I think it's great. I mean, I think you're describing how you pre-measure it yourself. And so you know that this is what you're going to take, and you've got to drink this amount between now and the next time you stop next hour. So Steve, what about you? Do you do any kind of alerts or anything like that?
I don't do alerts, but I run so slow, I'm just constantly eating the whole time anyway.
Yum. What's your favorite?
No,
what's your favorite snack? Like your favorite thing to eat?
I use pocket pretzels, I call them. It's a soft pretzel that I put in my pocket, and then I'll eat a half a pretzel as I'm running, and then another half a pretzel on the way. And then they're like, I don't know, 90 grams of carbs. So I know I've had 90 grams of carbs in that hour.
Right. And they're soft pretzels, you said?
Yeah, it's really gross.
No, that sounds
they've been
good.
in my pocket.
That sounds like you would need to bring cheese dip with you, like a cheese. I feel like it's missing a cheese dip or something. That'd be good.
If I have to start bringing fondue on my races, it's going to be over.
He just comes with like a fountain.
Y'all are ridiculous. So the way I do it is I actually kind of do what you do, Brittany. I don't do just liquid nutrition. I use solid nutrition. I use gels, chews, real food. It just depends. But I will have a plan for every time I have an aid station. If I'm being crude, then I have pre-organized almost like in a Ziploc bag. Like, here are all the things I want you to take. Give me at this aid station or this time I see you. Mm-hmm. And then the next time I get to you, I'm going to give you an empty bag of trash. Mm-hmm. And if I don't give you an empty bag of trash, then I'm not keeping up with my nutrition. Mm-hmm. And so my crew kind of keeps up with it that way. And then if I don't have a crew, I know guiltily when I pick up my drop bag, if I'm now taking a bag of stuff that I have not eaten any of, that I have just wasted the past 2 hours and have ruined myself on nutrition, I now need to figure out a way of catching up. Yeah. So that's kind of how I do it. I pre-organize like what I'm going to have for a period of time between aid stations or cruise stops, if you will. And I know how much carbs are in each of those Ziploc bags that need to be consumed and spread out. And it can be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It can be anything. I'm an eater. And so the other thing, though, we had a follow-up as Steve and I were talking about this. And the follow-up is it's really easy for me to say that I put in Ziploc bags the amount of carbs, whatever it is, and this is what I'm supposed to eat. It's really easy for you to say that you're going to have 2 water bottles with 40 grams of carbs in each of them and have a gel on top or whatever it is, and you're going to knock it out to get to 70. That's super simple to have that kind of plan. However, at mile 70 or 60 or 30, whatever the number is, there comes a point that I just don't feel like eating crap. Mm-hmm. How do you make yourself eat when you don't want to?
See, I think it's easier to take a swig of something than to like on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like something that don't go down. You know what I mean?
I think that's solid. Yeah. But it's also why you said you don't like you use those that don't give you palate fatigue.
Yeah.
Because I hate gels and all this stuff, right? Because I can't do gels or even some of the liquid nutrition because it feels sweet. Like I just get tired of that.
Yeah. And so I think that's where like the liquid nutrition like really helps me, because Scratch is like super mild flavor. Like a really like if you get whether it's the raspberry one or the lemon lime, really mild. And so it's like I can be like, like I can do that really well, So it's like bottoms up, like man up, like that is a lot easier than trying to like take in like a Cliff Bar or a Pop-Tart or something. That is just it's like I don't produce enough saliva to break down. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes, I do. There's
I've almost choked on a cracker, I think, one time.
Yes. That's a lot different. So like I feel like that has helped me and got me out of some scrapes because like you were bringing this up where it was like, oh, like if I come back with like no empty trash, then I know I haven't taken enough calories. And I know I'm going to have to catch up. Like sometimes like that game gets to be a funny game to play. And
it does.
I don't like playing.
Yeah, it does.
I don't like playing that game because a couple of different things can start happening.
Yeah.
So
you don't want to try to catch up and try to overconsume too much either, because that can wreak a different amount of havoc. Steve, what about you? How do you make yourself eat when you don't want to?
Well, I use the liquid nutrition, and then I use like stuff like the pretzels or Pop-Tarts like on top of that. So if I'm falling behind on the solid food, I'll make sure that I'm doubling up on the liquid nutrition. So I'd bring like an extra flask or something like that just to make sure that I'm keeping it in.
Yeah, I think back to the episode we had with April Bailey recently, where she talked about what she has done in this kind of situation is she has started to make her own food of things that she likes to eat. She likes certain items to eat. She said, so why wouldn't I just put those in my drop bags, in my places and eat those items? Because I think she said like a lemon blueberry muffin or whatever, like these mini muffins.
Yeah, muffin. Yep.
Right. And I was like, yeah, of course. And she makes rice balls and stuff like that. So like, yeah, she's making real food that she likes, and she just pops one. Now, she also just won the Yeti this past year, the Yeti 100
I saw that.
So she's blazing fast. But she's eating real food. And so that's how she did it, is that she gets palate fatigue, and she kind of helps herself eat by making food that she knows she likes. I'd use a strategy I call like an ABC type strategy. Like, these are things I always love. These are things I sometimes love. And these are some things I can just eat if I have to eat something.
Yeah.
And so I try to come up with options like that too. And I think that's helped me, but I do need to probably explore different options for liquid nutrition, because I do like the idea of just downing it if I have to.
Yeah. I highly recommend Scratch. I would start with
I use Scratch.
Yeah.
But I get palate fatigue from that.
Yeah.
The high carb one?
No, I don't use the high carb. I use the regular one, the low carb.
Yeah, the high carb.
I use the poor man's version.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, I use the low carb. I use the poor man's version.
Wait, say it again. Say it again.
I use the low carb version, the poor man's version.
The poor man's version. Yes. Yes.
It is. Right. I can't afford that high dollar Morton's 320.
That stuff is expensive. And it's like, it does have it tastes like a very mild vanilla to me. So I can see like why people like might not like that as much.
I call it toasted marshmallow.
Yeah. Which sounds delightful to me, but
not late though.
Yeah. It's not gonna be everybody. Yeah, I think the most important thing is for people to like try it on, try what works for them on training runs. Like so many, I sometimes like people every once in a while, I don't hear this all the time, but I hear it often enough to be like, what? Where they are trying stuff on race day. And it's like, you could totally go about it, because you could go about it whatever way works best for you and whatever way you want. But I when I was doing my long runs, it was like I was trying out stuff and making, figuring out for myself what worked best for me, rather than kind of, I would take other people's things into consideration, but ultimately it's like, well, you're either going to vibe with it or you're not. And there's only one way to find out.
Here's the obvious thing that when you said it, I just realized it, and I should know this because, I've done enough of these things. But when you said it, I was like, of course, we tell people all the time that they need to practice what they're going to eat in their races. We say it all the time. You need to practice this. You need to, do it on a long train and run, get used to it, see how it works. And yet, almost most of us are going to swing by an aid station and grab some random object that we have never tried before. Like some cookie that's got icing all over, like that looks great, or something random. And so it is funny because we will graze at an aid station and eat items that we've never practiced with, and we wonder why we feel like garbage at some point.
And I don't really do that. I don't really go to aid stations. I might try at ABC. There was a potato. Like a little potato, and I took a bite of it and I was like, nope, this isn't working. And I don't really do that. What was it? Was it where they had shrimp cocktail at the aid station? Did you guys see that?
No.
Yes.
Did you see that?
It was Avalon.
Wild. Wild.
There's no way. I could not do that.
There is photographic evidence of that happening. And so I don't know about all that.
I could not do that.
I've heard horror stories. I don't trust an aid station. I'm not an aid station kind of gal. But I will rely on my own drop bag.
I love it. Well, Brittany, thank you. This has been a fantastic conversation. I mean, I really appreciate the time that you've spent with us. We have gone in places I didn't know we were going to go, which I thought was fantastic to do. I really love your story. I think what you're doing in the recovery community is just speaks volumes of who you are as a person. I know we joked about it a lot. I think, and just to remind people, you are involved with, I think it's called Strides in Recovery as well, just to kind of mention that again. And so if somebody's listening, they have any questions about sobriety or even just about your journey, I would encourage them to reach out to you. What is, speaking of, the best way for them to interact with you on Instagram?
Instagram. Yeah. Direct message me on Instagram. That's always the best way. Yeah. I'm usually really good about getting back to people.
And what's your handle on Instagram?
It's Oside Run Coach.
Oside Run Coach. And we'll have that in the show notes as well, just for those who are looking for it. But I didn't want anybody just to look for your name. I wanted them to look for Oside Run Coach. And so I wanted to make sure he said that again multiple times. But thank you for just your transparency, your honesty, your humor, and everything. So much. It's like who you are. Yeah, absolutely alive as a person. And I think you carry that into your races. And I think that's what's helped you be successful. And I think for those listening and trying to figure out a variety of things, I think that they could take home from this episode is paying attention to their attitude, paying attention to who they are and how they process the dark moments, and that they don't have to have gone through something difficult like you, but they have probably gone through something difficult on their own. Everybody has been hurt in some way, shape, or form. And yes, ultras are hard, but they can get through it. And so I just appreciate your honesty and just who you are about it. So thank you for joining us on the show today. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. It's such a privilege and an honor us to do something like this. So I really, it doesn't go unnoticed by me. So thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. For those listening, thank you for taking the time to download the episode and plugging us in your ear. We really appreciate it. And we encourage you to send in a question to Brooklyn so she doesn't have to keep putting it in our coach's corner. We don't really think you suck. We actually love you guys a lot for being a part of the community. And thank you for taking the time, like I said, to listen. And so if you got any guest suggestions, let us know that as well. We'd love to hear it. We're always reaching out to new people. And so we always get a hidden gem. And Brittany, we think you're one of those gems. And so again, thank you for joining us. And we will see you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye now. See ya.